Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? It is currently 6:32 p.m. on this beautiful Wednesday evening. What is going on? I was like, what is that behind my shirt? No, it's the pillow. I am very, very tired right now. I had cousin fun day today. And Caroline picked me up, and we went to brunch at Cafe Patashu, and then we went to the post office, and then we went to Costco, and I got 2 plants for the back patio, and then we went to Starbucks, and we did a review, which is on my review channel. I just posted it. And then we went to Fresh Time, and I filmed our whole day and put it up on my Peter Does Stuff channel. And oh shoot, which I didn't even put the title up. So I need to go in there and I need to go put the title up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I did that real quick. So if you were one of the very first people to see my Peter Does Stuff video, which was originally called just Cousin Fun Day, because that's what I saved it under. I changed it, and it's called like Cousin Fun Day number 5,426 or something like that. Complaints and gratitude or something. But anyway, we had a great day. I wasn't as tired today as I was last week. But then I came home, and the plants that I got from Costco were really, really heavy, and I had to take them from her car all the way to the back patio. And then I took Boo Radley out, and yeah, and then my neighbor next door, she was sitting out in her driveway, so I went and I sat on the sidewalk, and I talked to her for a while. I just started getting really, really tired, and I was out here, and I was just like looking at stuff on my phone and talking to some friends. And then Alex just got home, and he heated up some leftover pizza, and he's watching, something on TV, and he is relaxing. And so yeah, so there's that, and that's about the size of it. I don't know what else to say. I stayed up till about 3 o'clock yesterday. I watched the Anna Nicole Smith documentary on Netflix, which I thought was really, really well done. Very well documented, but very sad. There was actually a lot, and I have to tell you, I'm somebody that was a huge fan of Anna Nicole Smith. I thought her life was very tragic and very sad. But I like religiously watched the Anna Nicole. I like religiously watched the reality show, and I loved it. And had like followed her career since she was, you know, a guest model and all that kind of stuff. But there was a lot about, I mean, most of it I will say I knew, but there were a lot of things in there that I didn't know. And her life was just tragic. It's interesting, like, how many people, like, when you think about, like, Whitney Houston and Anna Nicole Smith and, you know, Janis Joplin and all of these people, like, that were so, well, I mean, I don't know that you would consider Anna Nicole Smith as somebody that was, like, hugely creative or whatever, but they had just, like, such tragic lives. And it was interesting because one of the journalists was talking about, like, the flip side of fame, and that with fame comes, like, a lot of this tragedy and stuff like that, which I think is really interesting. They showed a clip at the end of her mom being interviewed, and her mom kind of, like, questioned a lot of what she said, where Anna Nicole had painted this picture that she had, like, grown up really, really poor, when in fact they grew up pretty middle class, and that she was, like, horrifically abused and all this kind of stuff, which her mom said was never the case, and her brother said wasn't the case. So, and then she even said, like, she would ask Anna Nicole, Vicky Lynn, that was her biological name, she would ask her, like, well, why do you tell these stories? And she was like, you know, people like sad stories more than they like happy stories, and that she kind of, like, painted this picture that things were different than they were, which was interesting. And it's interesting that, you know, her life ended up being so sad, you know, in the end, with her son dying and then ultimately, like, her dying. So I watched that. I thought it was a good documentary. I actually, at the end, when they show her funeral, I started crying a little bit, which was, I mean, I liked her as a pop culture figure, but I wouldn't say, like, I had any kind of, like, emotional attachment to her. So I was kind of surprised that I was crying, but, like, I don't know. It was a well-done documentary. And then my friend had told me to watch this documentary called Goodnight, Sugar Babe, which she said I could watch on something, but I couldn't find it anywhere except for on Amazon Prime, and I had to rent it for $3.99, which I did. It was this very amateurish documentary, but very well done. Like, the way that it was shot, the narration, the subtitles, everything about it was just like really amateurish. Like, it was like a school project. But it was really, really a well done documentary. And other than that, and it was about this family in Findlay, Ohio, that had this 23-year-old woman living with them named Vera, and they allegedly had like abused her, like sexually and physically and emotionally and mentally, and that she was developmentally disabled, and that she was like 23, but like developmentally she was like 8 years old, and that the grandmother like had her get pregnant by her 16-year-old son, and then they had this child together, and the grandmother was always like wanting to like have other people's kids, like, and so that was like kind of allegedly why they ended up killing her. And so these two people like stabbed her to death and like put her on this railroad track and left her for dead. And it was such a sad story. It was so sad. But really interesting, and kind of like, they compared this family a lot to like the Manson clan, you know? And it was a really interesting documentary. So I watched that, and then I was like, still like wide awake. I was gonna watch Fear the Walking Dead, but I'm struggling like getting back into that show because I've taken so much of a break that I'm just like not really excited to start watching it again, and I wanted to watch another documentary. So I was like looking for something to watch. My friend sent me like 10 documentaries to watch, and like half of them I've seen. So I started watching the documentary on Netflix about the Skinwalker Ranch, and it's like a 8-part series or 10-part series, and it's about this guy. Now, I feel like I read a book, or we read a book for a True Crime Book Club about Skinwalker Ranch. I feel like we didn't for a True Crime Book Club. I feel like I did on my own or something, or I watched some documentary about it or whatever, but this was completely different. Somebody new several years ago bought the Skinwalker Ranch. So if you don't know about the Skinwalker Ranch, it is this ranch in Utah that supposedly is on like Navajo land, and the Navajos got into some kind of like battle with like another tribe, and hey, and they like cursed this land, and so as a result, there's been like all this really strange phenomenon that has happened through the years, like for the last 100 years, and like a lot of people have lived at this ranch and tried to raise cattle, and like the cattle have died like in the middle of the day. They've been like blood dry. All of this really weird stuff has happened. UFO sightings have happened. Like the electronic magnetism of like the area is like off the charts. And like I had known that. Like I don't remember if I read a book or if I watched a documentary about it. I really don't remember. I feel like I watched a documentary about it. But anyway, so this is like a new guy bought it, a billionaire, and he hired like this investigative team, and that has already been out there for like 3 years. And then he hired this astrophysicist to come out there and like lead this team to try to find out what's going on. And I watched the first episode last night and like 5 minutes of the second episode, because then I was getting like really tired, and I was like, okay, I have to go to bed. But I have to say, it's really interesting. Like, it's more interesting than anything that I knew about this ranch already. And I feel like the last thing I watched, or the book that I read or whatever, wasn't real conclusive. It was just like, I feel like anything that I watch, like anything ghost hunter or UFOs or whatever, they always act like they have conclusive evidence, and then there's not really conclusive evidence, which, you know, I am somebody that I have to tell you, I believe in everything, okay? Like, I believe in Santa Claus, and UFOs, and the Loch Ness Monster, and, you know, Bigfoot, and I mean, I'll believe in anything. Like, I feel like the world is big enough for everything, and I think that makes the world a more interesting place. So I just love to like speculate about all of that. But whenever I watch these shows, like, it makes me very skeptical. These shows that are supposed to convince you, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but these shows that are supposed to convince you that there's like weird phenomenon out there. So if you guys have documentaries that like have conclusive evidence, let me know. But like, when you watch these shows that are supposed to have conclusive evidence, and then you watch them and there really isn't any conclusive evidence, and it makes you, like, you leave the show and you're kind of like, well, that even makes me kind of even more skeptical than I was before. I watched that show that was about the I think his name was Bob Lazar, who like had all this evidence from the government about UFOs and stuff like that. And I can remember like all these people were talking about like how crazy this was. Like, UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrials is something that like I have like literally fallen down the rabbit hole. Like, that is something that I have believed for 40 years, 50 years. I will always believe in extraterrestrials. I believe they're here on our Earth. I've been obsessed with all the stories and the books and the movies about them and stuff like that. And I struggle so hard in believing that we're the only thing out there. Like, I just can't believe that, right? And so, you know, like when you look at like the NASA footage and they're like, you know, out in space and they have like things shooting by and they're like, do you see that? And you hear like them talking about the things shooting by. Like, that to me is almost kind of conclusive evidence of seeing things like that and whatever. But I don't know. It's like, it's so interesting to me. Like, I watched that documentary. I can't remember what it was called. It was years ago, but, or maybe 2 years ago, something like that. I think it was some YouTuber like Manny MUA was talking about like how great it was, and it was like so shocking and whatever, and I watched it and I thought, this is shocking. Like, there's no conclusive evidence on this. Like, I want to watch something where like you literally see like a UFO like land in the middle of the street, you know. I used to listen to Coast AM. I loved that radio show, and it was on from like 1 to 5 a.m. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like Monday through Friday. And they would have like all different kinds of topics about like shapeshifters and shadow people and UFOs. And I mean, they got into all kinds of things on the show. But my favorite was they would have this wild card hotline. I've talked about this on here before. It would crack me up. Like, I would listen to it and I would just be totally enthralled with it, you know. And they'd be like, Earl from Oklahoma City, you're on the air. And they'd be like, oh yeah, this is Earl from Oklahoma City. He'd be like, Earl, go ahead, what's your story? Well, I come home and my wife, Judy, she had made me a bologna sandwich, and I had me a natural light, and I was sitting out on the back patio, and she was inside, she was watching her soaps. You know, she likes to watch her soaps, The Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives, and she calls it Days and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Go ahead, Earl, what's your story? Well, anyway, I was sitting out there on the back patio and just eating my bologna sandwich, and now I like me a good hot bologna sandwich. And we got cornfields, you know, behind our house. And we don't farm. It's our neighbors. But we got cornfields behind our house. And I saw this bright light. It was green, and it was lighting up the sky. And all of a sudden, I saw this 6-foot alien. He walked out. He was green too, just like the light, see? And now he walked out of the cornfield, and he had these big old black eyes, and he had a cowboy hat on. He said, hey, Earl, how are you doing? And I about wanted to faint. I about couldn't die that there was this alien just sitting there saying, hey, Earl, how are you doing? And I didn't even know what to do. Couldn't even eat my bologna sandwich or drink my natural light or nothing. I didn't even know what to do. And I used to love, oh my God, I would just sit there and listen to it, you know. And then somebody else would call in and they'd say, Kitty, you're on the air. And she'd say, hey, this is Kitty, and I'm from Oklahoma City too. And that same night that Earl was talking about, well, I live on the other side of the cornfield, and I saw it, but it wasn't a green light, it was a purple light. And I had a purple alien, and she came out of the cornfield, and she was wearing a house dress, wearing a bonnet. And she said, hey, Kitty, what's going on? Can I have a piece of that apple pie? And I would just sit there and I would listen to these people, and they were crazy. I mean, they were so crazy. And I loved listening to that stuff. And and then they had a lot of like truck drivers that would say that they had seen things like when they were riding the road, and I totally believed it 100%. And I always thought it'd be so fun to be like a truck driver, and you'd see all this like crazy stuff, you know, on the road. I used to listen to that show religiously, but every once in a while they do a topic that I totally wasn't interested in, you know, be like something like way out there or whatever. They talked a lot about like what was his name? Edward Casey, the guy that did like the occult stuff. I was never really interested in a lot of that, but they would do like a lot of like, you know, past lives and psychic stuff and UFOs and all kinds of political secrets that like, but not like political secrets like UFOs and stuff like that. So anyway, you know, supposedly, this has come out recently, this has been a theory for a long time, but supposedly, I can't remember where I was watching this, but John F. Kennedy was supposedly assassinated, and so was Marilyn Monroe killed because he knew about UFOs in the United States, and he had told her, and that was why they were both killed or something like that. I don't know that I believe all that. Now, that's kind of conspiracy stuff that I really struggle in believing a little bit. So, but I do think it's interesting when they talk about all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So, you're like, what is going on today with Peter? I've had a good day. I've had a really, really good day. It's been nice. It's been relaxing. I don't really have tons to talk about. I made so many videos yesterday, and then today I did the review video, and I did the Peter Does Stuff video, and then I'm doing the vlog, and I didn't film a drama video or Peterisms video. I'll do that tomorrow, and so yeah. So, there's that. What else is new that I can share with y'all? Well, here's some news. My mother-in-law is moving back tonight from Spain. I mean, I know eventually in the next couple days I'm going to be talking about it anyway, and I've known this for a while. I've known it for about 2 weeks, but I just haven't said anything. And I know people are going to be like, your mother-in-law was supposed to be in Spain for like 2 years. What happened? So, she's going to go back. So she's going to go back in like 3 to 6 months and stay over there for like another 2 years. But there were just some things that she didn't plan out before she went over there. And her mom really, really misses her. And so she wants to come back here and spend some time with her mom and her sister. And then Fufu's wedding is in October, and she wants to go out there and spend some time with he and Jesse, like before the wedding, like in the summer and stuff like that. And so I think she's just kind of missing everybody. And so I think her plan going forward is that she'll be over there for a couple months, and then she'll come back over here for like a couple months and go back and forth. And that'll probably be the next, you know, 3 to 4 years or something like that. But yeah, so she's coming back tonight and doesn't really have any plans yet. I don't know if I've talked about this, but so what my mother-in-law, a lot of what she does today is that she plans these immersion trips. They're really cool. So she has a lot of adult students that she teaches Spanish to. And not just in Indiana, but like all over, that she does like Zoom with and like in person as well, like if they're here. And then she plans these immersion trips. Like she did one to Chile, she did one to Argentina, and then last month she had one in Spain, and they went to Madrid and Barcelona, and there was like 10 of them, 10 adults that came over. And so she sets up the whole thing. Like she has like a workbook that she puts together. I mean, it's like extensive. And she has them all printed off, like real text workbooks. It's very cool what she does. And she goes around to all the places. Like before she went to Chile and Argentina with the trip, she like went there and she like researched it and like found all the restaurants, all the hotels, found all the spots like that she wanted to go to. Found like plays for them to go see, found like art things for them to go do, like museums, found like cultural experiences that they could participate in themselves. And so that's what she does, and like that's what she did in Madrid and Barcelona. And then she plans these trips, and what they are is that they're like immersion experiences. And so when you go over there, you don't speak in English at all, you speak all in Spanish. And so they're like for her students that she's been working with for several years. And the whole concept is so cool, and she came up with it on her own, and she picks like a different, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like what's with a school, oh, you know, like with like football teams and stuff like that, they have the school mascot, okay? So, hey, how are you? So she always has like a mascot that she uses, and like we were asking her like, well, what would it be if like you were doing it in the United States? And she'd say, well, I picked somebody like Marge Simpson or something that like would be universal that everybody would know. And so like she picks these like cartoon characters for like each country that she's doing that are like really well known in that country, you know? And then like all the workbooks and everything like have that thing on it. It's really cool what she does. And so she just did it, and she had a very successful trip, and she took them all over Madrid and all over Barcelona. And that was part of like when Alex and she were there, like they did a balloon trip over Barcelona and looking at like all the fields and stuff like that. And so she took them on that, and then they went and saw like all the cathedrals and all this kind of stuff. But it's an immersion trip, so like the first 3 hours of every day, they meet like in a conference room, like in the hotel, and they have like lessons about where they're going to go, what they're going to see, the history of the cathedrals, but all of the lessons are in Spanish. Like you can't speak English. And so the whole idea is that once you go back, you've had this experience in whatever country that you've gone to, but that you've had this experience in Spanish and learning Spanish at the same time, or furthering your Spanish. And so, yeah, it's really, really cool. So coming back, she's planning some other trips that she's doing to other Spanish-speaking countries. And like I said, she's done Chile, she's done Argentina, and now she's done Spain. And she wants to do some other trips in Spain as well, in other areas of Spain. Like she wants to do like more coastal towns and things like that, like Barcelona. But she wants to do like other Spanish-speaking countries as well. And but it's the whole concept is very, very cool. And so that's a lot of what she does. And then she has private students that she teaches here and other places as well, like she does on Zoom and whatever. And so yeah, I'm excited to see her. I really miss her a lot. And and I think she missed home, but she's planning to stay here like through the holidays and then go back to Spain like right after the holidays, and then be there, I don't know, 6 or 8 months, and then come back here for a couple months, and then go back over there for like, and then do that for like 2 or 3 years. I think is that what her plan is before she like moves back here full time. So we'll see. I don't know. But anyway, I'm excited to see her. I was just asking Alex, I was like, because his aunt is picking her up from the airport, and I said, are you going to go? And he's like, no, she doesn't get in until late tonight. So he was like, I'll probably see her tomorrow or the next night. So I'm sure we'll go over there. She's going to stay with her sister, his aunt, for a while, until she figures out like a place to stay and whatever. And so until then, I'm sure we'll get together within the next couple days and have dinner or do something. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited to see her. I miss her. And it's hard, you know, it's like, I used to say, like, I felt in some ways like my mom gave me Alex's family. My mom would love Alex's family, first of all. I mean, they're so family oriented. And my mom and Alex's mom are so similar in so many different ways. Like, they love music, and they love to dance, and they love to read, and they're so passionate, and they're so like, oh, let's have a conversation about this. And my mom and his mom would have been the greatest of friends, you know, even though there would have been a 20-year age difference. Like, they would have been the greatest of friends. They would have loved each other. And well, just, I don't know, 18-year age difference or 17 years or something like that. But anyway, like, they would have been such great friends. Like I always tell her this. I'm like, I can imagine you'd like have my mom over here, and you guys would like do, you know, face masks and watch Mamma Mia and dance to the music and stuff, because she loves that movie. And so it kind of makes me sad sometimes that, like, they never got to meet my mom. But on the same level, like, I feel so blessed to have them in my life. Like, I say this a lot, but I really mean it. Like, I hear a lot of my friends complain about, like, their mother-in-laws or their in-laws or whatever. Like, I am so blessed to have the most fantastic in-laws in the entire world. I mean, they have accepted me, brought me into the family. I mean, she calls me her other son. I'm like, you know, she's like, I have 4 sons now, and you're, you know, and Liliana's my daughter, and, you know, Jesse's my daughter, and she's just so inclusive of all of us. And you know, she and I text and we talk all the time, and I feel so blessed to have that. And I think, like, on Mother's Day, like I was saying that, like, we used to always take Alex's mom to brunch and stuff like that. Like, I really think, like, having, like, her not being here, even though I don't see her a ton when she's here because she's so busy, but, like, I think that kind of took a little bit of a toll on me this year. Like, I just was kind of like, God, I miss her, you know? Like, I want to see her. And, I don't know. You know, it's been almost 15 years that she's been in my life. And, like even having Jesse and Fufu live in San Diego, you know, I mean, we FaceTime them and talk to them quite a bit and whatever, but like that's hard, you know, that we can't just like see them if we want to see them and have them, you know, whatever. Like his family are like, they talk a lot, like they FaceTime and they talk on the phone, and you know, so we're always in bed like, hey, how are you, like FaceTiming one of his cousins, like his cousin Maya or Nina, or you know, his aunt or his mom or Fufu, or you know, Carlos and Liliana and the kids or whatever. So everybody's super close, and I didn't grow up with that, you know, I grew up as an only child and our house was pretty quiet, and so to come into a family where it's like so loving and so bonded like that is just amazing, and I love it. But it makes me miss it more, you know, when it's not present a lot. And Alex's mom is somebody also that she's never shied away from like giving me advice or challenging me on something, and I appreciate that, because I think a lot of like mother-in-laws, well, I think a lot of mother-in-laws probably challenge, or you know, father-in-laws probably challenge their in-laws, but like she doesn't challenge me like in a negative way. Like she challenges me like in a wanting to grow kind of way, you know, and she'll say like, have you ever thought about this, or you know, like I really want you to think about this or whatever, you know. And I don't know, she's just, and she is such a pure example of somebody that suits up and shows up, you know. When my aunt died, when my uncle died, I mean, she was there, she showed up to the viewing, she showed up to the funeral, you know, before she moved, Caroline stopped by her house and was like, you know, like, I love you so much, and she's such a huge part of, you know, she comes over and spends holidays with Caroline and stuff now, and our families have really molded the last couple years, and it's just really nice, and I love our family. Like, I just feel very, very blessed to, they're redoing the roof down the street. Can you hear it? It's so loud. And I just feel very, very blessed to have this most amazing family, you know? And sometimes I feel like my mom gave that to me, you know? I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know. I think when you become attracted to somebody, it's not just that person or whatever, or their personality or their looks that you become attracted to, but I think it's the overall thing, you know. And I can remember, like, I mean, I was so attracted to Alex from the very beginning. Like, I've told the story, like when I went to go pick him up at his friend's house, he walked in front of my car and he kind of like gave this cute wave, and I was like, I am so screwed. Like, I thought he was so cute, you know. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so screwed. Like, this guy is just, I mean, I am like, like I was so taken right away, right? And then I can remember just like going to his mom's house and sitting around, you know, and back at that point, Carlos lived in Venezuela. And so it was Fufu living at home, and we would go over there, and it would be his mom and Fufu and myself and Alex, and we would have dinner and whatever, and some of the relatives would come over, and I just was so taken with the family and just so attracted to being part of all of that, you know, and the loudness and the dancing and the music and all of that kind of stuff, and the storytelling. I love the storytelling and just all of it, you know, and that I think I was attracted to that as well, and to be part of that. And the culture, you know, the Venezuelan culture, I think, is something as well that I just was really taken with, and the pride of the Venezuelan culture, and it's just, you know, the beauty of all of it, and of the food and the making of the food, and the holidays and the traditions and all of it, and the stories of the different places that they would go to, like Margarita Island and things like that. And, you know, I don't know, it's just, I feel very, very blessed that I have them in my life. And I feel very blessed that I have my cousin Caroline and my dad and my stepmom, you know, and my sponsor and Tanya Jean and I don't know, and Valerie and Melissa and Jason and Aaron and Mel and Nikki from the book club. And I just, you know, I feel very, very grateful today. I don't know, like all day I've been in a very happy mood, and I've been very grateful, and I have just felt full of love and full of gratitude today. And isn't it weird how some days you feel more like that than others? So I'm gonna make this a short vlog today, so I'm gonna get off here and go spend some time with my husband. And Valerie had asked me to do something, so I don't know, she might come and pick me up and we might run around for a little bit. And I'm gonna get off here, so I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Wednesday. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And remember these three very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but Shh, don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. You might be putting a smile on their face. You might be cheering them up. You might be making them feel happier. And you might just be motivating them to, I don't know, do something. So anyway, and also be kinder to one another, love one another a little bit more, and most importantly, be kinder and love yourselves a little bit more. And I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.